Hi guys, in the previous video we looked at how to create a blueprint actor as well as some of the basics about the options which you see on the screen. So such things such as the class settings and class defaults. If you guys haven't seen that, make sure you guys do see that. The video is on my channel, and if you guys have any questions, leave them on my Discord. Link is down in the video description. And today we'll be covering variables, macros and functions. So the topic of variables is actually pretty simple. So you just click on this plus icon to create any variable. So by default it will be of type boolean, so let's just call it our variable. So it could be anything. And one thing you'll notice is that the common C++ rules don't apply here, so you can name a variable starting with a number. So some of those things are not valid, and you can give spaces as well in blueprints. So that's one difference between your C++ and your blueprint variables. But technically speaking, it's a good practice not to give them. So next we'll head into the type. We can set the variable to be a boolean, byte, integer, or any of these types. So basically byte is an 8-bit integer, integer is a 32-bit integer, and the other names as they suggest. The last three which you see here are basically structs. So a vector is going to have 3 floats inside it. So if I just compile that, you see it has 3 floats. This is the x, this is the y as well, and this is the z. And your rotator is basically a pitch, yaw and roll. So if I just hover over this, it still says x, y and z, but you would refer to them as pitch, yaw as well as roll. And your custom created structures and enums will come under these two sections. And if you head into your object types, you can actually type in my actor, the actor which you have created. So if you're spawning an actor during runtime, or if you have the reference to it, what you can do is you can actually set this to be you can actually get the reference and set it inside this variable, so you can store this. So in order to actually set any variable, so grab the variable, hold alt and drag it in, or you can just drag it and type in set, or select the option set. If you control drag it, however, you can get a reference to it. But remember, with objects, if you haven't set it to anything, by default they'll have a value of none. So it means if I just print it on begin play, event begin play, and let's say I have another variable, so let's just call it int variable, and I make this of type integer. And if I type in int variable, and if I just print out the string, you'll notice something very off. You get a 0, but you also get an error. The reason is that this right now is set to none. So this object technically does not exist. Even if it does, the game actually doesn't know unless you store it in a variable. So you could get a reference to self actually, and set that to our variable, set that to our variable. And now instead of actually dragging from this, you could just drag it off of here. And if you go ahead and change this value, if you compile that and if you press play, you should get 21 and no errors. And if you guys are wondering why you are not getting the print string, for some of you guys, you might have not dragged it into the level. That's basically it. And now let's head into functions and macros. So basically they just functions and macros allow you to condense your code. In C++ and other languages, you basically collapse multiple lines of code into one line, but here it's collapsing multiple blocks of code into one block. Let me just demonstrate that. So let's just create random number. Let's grab our integer variable and set that, set integer variable, integer variable. So we'll grab a random integer, so 10, and I guess we can add the current variable to this. I don't know, just a random operation over there. So instead of having these three or these 4 blocks, you could instead have this one function to perform whatever you want for you. And one more feature of functions is in and out parameters. So if you add an input, you can actually pass in any value. So if I just click on integer, you can actually get this value over here. But one really stupid thing that I see people doing is, now we have this new param. Let's say you wanted to get this. I see people doing ridiculous things like promoting to a local variable and things like that. No, you don't need to do that. You can just type in new param and you can actually get a reference to it. You do not need to promote this to a variable again. That's one thing that people do not know. And as your C++ functions, even this has regular local variables, so you can add that. So this variable exists only inside of this function. You can create how many of those you want. And now talking about macros, the reason you would want to use macros is to perform latent actions basically, and if you want multiple execution pins. So this right here is an execution pin which helps you control the flow in your blueprint graph. And if you type in your return node, so this is basically your return in C++. Currently this function will be equal to having a void in the function return type. However, you can pass in out parameters as well as have return values. So in C++ this would just be out parameters, so you can just give any variables inside here. So float, integer, you can just pass any value outside. Now if you drag this function inside the graph, you see the out parameters come on the right hand side, so that you can get these values. Now there are two types of functions before we get to macros. So one, there's your normal function, and another one is actually a pure function. Now people don't talk about this too much, however let me tell you the differences. So since we have a random number function anyway, so I'll just have the integer output, I'll have no inputs, and I'll just grab a random integer. So between 0 and 10, or let me do 100 just to avoid repetition, and I can get this random number function. Let me make this a normal function first, and what I can do is I can add a delay over here. First of all, let me print that. So I print this out, and after a delay, what I will do is I will print this out once again. And now this should work as expected. So you see it printed 64 twice. Was it 64? Yeah, it was 64. It printed it twice. Now let me make this a pure function. So whoops. So pure. And now if I go ahead and print this out, I go ahead and press play, you see that it gives two separate values, and the 64 was just a coincidence. You won't get repeated values so easily. And let me tell you what happened over there. What happened was, with a normal function, the out parameters whatever you get are actually cached. So if you're using the same value again, you are going to get the same value, whereas with a pure function, this function will be run every time you drag off of this. So here you are using this. So this right here, this setup right here is equivalent of this as well as this. So you have another function here, you get the point, right? So it's equivalent of this. If you would have done this, or if you would have run a pure function and dragged the output over here, they pretty much do the same thing. So remember, pure functions will be called each time you get a value off of them, whereas your normal functions will have the out values cached. So if you don't want to call them multiple times, they are a bit more efficient in that sense. Now heading to macros. Now you remember I used the delay here just now. The problem with functions is that you cannot use them here. So let me just demonstrate. So I'll just copy this over. So let me actually right click and cut it, so guys will believe me. And right click. Okay, I can't paste it here, but Control V. You see one or more copied nodes could not be pasted into this graph. The reason is you can't have latent actions inside a blueprint function. The way you actually do it is through a macro, or you have to do it outside the function. So a macro pretty much does the same thing. except that it allows you to have a couple of extra things apart from functions. So first of all, it allows you to have multiple in and out execution pins. So what you see here, what controls the flow, this is an execution pin, and you will need at least one execution pin, otherwise it's pretty much pointless. So you could have a switch here. So switch, let's actually have switch for a random enum over here. So if I have this, so I can actually have multiple execution pins based on values. That's one advantage of macros. And the reason you might want to use macros most of the time is to add delays. You see, you can actually add a delay. And there's another advantage of macros actually. So remember I told you about the multiple execution pins. So I have 2 execution pins here, and I can name them now, and I can name this one after. So if I type in 2 over here, just a reasonable amount of time, and inside of this I can also type in, so I can have a print string over here, and I'll need to replace that. So if I have now over here, and if I use a sequence node, you can use it over there as well. And if you have this over here, you'd see something really interesting. Let's have the print outside so we can actually see the difference. We do this, we can grab our macro, and we can print out, let's just print out n over there, and let's just print out a over there. You see that it printed n, and it waited for 2 seconds, and then it printed a. So if you want to have something like that, depending on time, you could have that as well with a macro. So that's pretty cool. So basically it does not exit out unless all these tasks are completed. And again, if you guys didn't know, in blueprints your for loop as well is actually a macro. So if I just type in for loop, and if I just double click on that, you see this is actually a macro inside the standard macro library. So that's basically it. It's not actually an internal C++ thing. So each of those operators inside that for loop actually calls from C++. So that's it for this video, guys. I hope this was helpful, and if it was, make sure you guys do hit the subscribe button. And most of you guys watching aren't really subscribed, so you guys really should consider subscribing. And if you guys have any questions, leave them on my Discord, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.